But yeah, obviously it seems to be a situation that they're just like, apparently this has kind of been their wake up call, and the kind of W sources have said they might put a big reset on the company's plans for Royal Rumble and going forward. It's obviously as a report here from, I think, Dave from the WrestlingNews.com has reported that Vince has, I think, what is looking for outside the box kind of issues, kind of going in, kind of like to kind of fix this. I mean, the problem with Vince and WWE has always been the reason why I don't watch it now is that, well, when I say don't watch, I watch pay-per-views, but then it's like I keep in touch, but they've let us down too many times. It's really sit there. How many times have we seen these reports over the last couple of years where WWE have come like, oh, we're going to change? I mean, as they've said in this report, it's been 2 years to the day when they went on Raw and basically announced that we're going to change things, and nothing's changed. It was just words. Do you want to change? Give us wrestlers. Give us great matches. Give us consistent storylines. Don't chuck storylines to the curve like 2 weeks after you started them. Have things make sense. Just, I don't know, maybe not have a creative team. Let the wrestlers, create stuff. I mean, the reason AEW I think is working because most of the stuff we created is from the wrestler's creative mind. It feels like it's just different, if you know what I mean. It's like WWE is just, it's one of those companies. It's let's be honest, it's Vince. He's the problem, It's because the guy's 70 odd now, and he still thinks he's on the pulse of what's cool in 2020. We have to respect that it's Vince McMahon. What can I put the word? The guy is basically, I don't want to say Godfather, but like any genius, eventually it's like any great film director. Eventually their kind of talents wane when they get older, and they're kind of what they think's cool isn't cool, and I think that's the problem. I think he wants to be like Stu, like the head creative force because of it in the company, but he's again kind of behind the times. And as I think Solomon Monster, if you check his podcast out, I do a lot when it comes to my views and how I look at wrestling. He's kind of put across as like most of these creators are kind of create content for not an audience of many, the audience of one, and that's Vince McMahon. I think it's like, I think NXT proves that if you give like cadence to that kind of style of wrestling and put it on a grander stage, that I think WWE will flourish way more than they are now. I mean, yeah, you could sit there and say NXT is one of those things at the moment where it's not as good as it was, I admit. Obviously it used to be like this golden era when you had like Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Nakamura, that kind of like, era where it's just like great stuff. Like it's probably like was the best thing. But that kind of style of wrestling, that if you took that and put it on a WWE programming and wrote Raw like that and maybe 3 hours might be tough, but right like that, then focus on the wrestling and not wacky storylines, it would work. Honestly, trust me, the fans will come back if you do that, because you'll be watching it for the matches, because you got the casual view, I get that, but it's like you're losing just your car calls now, so you need to find a way to bring it's like anything. Solidate your base, bring back your hardcore fans, and then kind of try and rebuild again. Because it's like they keep that kind of, going back to like legends to kind of bring back the ratings. It's just not a thing. I want WWE to succeed. I mean, but it's hard to watch these days when it's just I've heard these reports so many years where they're like, we're going to change, things are going to change. You always hear these reports like, big reset, outside the box ideas. Let's be honest, they're probably going to bring back, remember them reports we said last week, where it's going to be Goldberg going against Roman Reigns, Edge versus Randy Orton. I mean, I like Edge, I love Randy Orton, and I do like, but I just don't think relying on legends to kind of get a big ratings boost or kind of like big up shows when you've got all this amazing talent that could probably do the job. Like you got people like Big E. It's kind of, I like you story at the moment. You got like Sami Zayn. You got Roman Reigns. You got Drew McIntyre. You've got, you got some tag division like Montez Ford. You got, my God, I can name so many people. You got Nakamura, for God's sake. You do nothing with the guy. You got Nakamura, probably one of the best Japanese wrestlers out there. And you're sitting there, but it's so many good. No one can sit there and say you don't have the talent. It's just been booked so horribly. I think WWE could change. I don't see it because I've seen it all before. I mean, I don't want to be tricked yet again to believe that things are going to change and then it doesn't. Because to be honest, nothing will really change until the real source of the problem is Vince stepping down or taking a bit less of a creative stance on what's being, put across on television. I mean, you could say he's a great businessman, maybe. He's ruthless, to give him that. But creatively, he hasn't been. I think until we get rid of him, take him off the reins, I just don't think anything's going to change. But